it's Beauty Junkay. Welcome to my channel. Today we're getting into the new Pat McGrath holiday palette. This is the Mothership Mega Celestial Odyssey palette. This is my first Pat McGrath holiday palette. The first one came out last year in 2020, and this is the 2021 version, and this is so much fun. I swatched it in daylight earlier today. I will be showing swatches of all three rows. There's 18 shades in here. This is a $78 palette. To me, it's a great value for Pat McGrath. You get lots of eyeshadows, lots of colors, textures. We'll be getting into some looks, and I will give you a final thoughts, first impressions of this palette. But before I get into all of that, I have a little message for you. Hi there, I wanted to include this message in my first makeup related video after finding out about the passing of Mel Thompson. I didn't know her personally at all. I just wanted to share her influence on me. You know, I saw Tara Lynn's video that she posted, just sharing her thoughts about Mel. I was just completely shocked. I have put out videos since her passing, but this is the first time I'm filming after her passing, and I wanted to include a message. If you weren't subscribed to her channel, maybe you weren't aware of her. I know she's been on YouTube for years. When I found out that she passed, I was in complete shock, like most people. I found out, I believe, the day after it all, you know, it was her husband posted on her Instagram confirming that she passed. I don't really read the captions of Instagram when I'm just scrolling through, and Tuesday morning I found out because I just saw all these posts about her, and I was like, what happened? And I had no idea that she was that sick. And people pointed out, well, she did like a life update like 6 months ago saying that she was having all these health issues. Of course, since then, I don't watch every single Mel video. I hardly get to watch that many of the channels that I subscribe to. But, you know, I saw her post that Wayne Goss palette, and I did think, Tara Lynn pointed this out, I did think the title was a bit strange. That was her last video. She didn't get to edit it fully. The just title and description, and now I know why. I can't believe she worked up until like pretty much the very end. It just seems so crazy to me, and I don't know how sick she was at the end or if it was sudden. I saw the title of her video and was like very confused by the title, why it said Wayne Goss Mine and not like the title of the palette. Obviously didn't think much about it, didn't find out till the day after. What a weird thing for me to think. Like, why does she have a weird title? And I didn't even watch the video because I'm kind of avoiding watching new releases, especially if I'm going to pick up that palette. I don't know if I'm going to pick up the Wayne Goss palette, but in any case, I just was completely shocked, and I mean, she's so young. I watched the video of her like life update to like get the full story of like her health condition, because I don't think I ever watched that video, and I don't remember her giving us too many updates. But I didn't watch every video that she came out with. But it's just hard to believe that they couldn't figure out what was wrong and how to fix it, and it's just a real shame. Anyways, I don't know why she died, but I'm just guessing it was had to do with what she's been dealing with. It's just unbelievable, and it's unbelievable how we all didn't know the degree that she was of sickness that she was dealing with, because she was just putting out so much content. It's just unbelievable to me. If I was going through that, I would probably say, yeah, I'm taking a break. I wanted to put in this message to talk about like well, why is Mel Thompson a big deal? You may not be aware. I'm a very micro channel, but she has had an influence on me, and I had to think about it for a minute because Carolyn brought up, like, you know, why is she so special? You know, why is she so, you know, she talked about, like, she's inspiring, encouraging. I think what I like most about Mel, what I liked most about Mel is her artistry. She was so talented. She could just knock out such gorgeous, beautiful looks. And I liked how she was a little bit edgy of a look. You know, for a long time she had bald, bleached hair, and I just loved her alternative style. And she had like an amazing channel and so much great beauty content and tips. And she seemed like such a sweet person. She, you know, talked about her kids all the time. Like, but most of all, I loved her artistry. I loved her demonstrations. I mean, she could just knock out such amazing looks. And she really introduced me and influenced me to get into a lot of different brands that I probably maybe would have not gotten into if it wasn't for her. So first and foremost, Wayne Goss, you all know she's a huge supporter of him, and he's been including in her videos. I watched her video when she was crying, when he like called her. You know, that was like an emotional moment for me as well. I was like, wow, he like launched her YouTube channel so much higher because of, you know, what he did for her and including her in his videos. And it was amazing to see her get noticed by such a much larger YouTube star that Wayne Goss is. But obviously, I got into his brushes and then, of course, his makeup. I don't own everything. I don't know that I'm going to pick up his latest palette. But what he has come out with has been incredible. But I think with her, like, she really introduced me to his brushes, and she showed how to use them. And then I saw her. Of course, I subscribed to Kelsey Brianna J's channel. And then that got me kind of going into a whole bunch of other different channels. But another brand that she really loved was Tom Ford. So I think she had like every single Tom Ford eyeshadow palette, so those videos were really helpful to help me decide what to get. I mean, I think I also picked up the Tom Ford fragrance Oud Mineral because of her, because she loved it so much, and now I have a full-size bottle. So it's just kind of crazy to think about like all the different kinds of makeup that I use and makeup tools. Really just because from watching her. I think her opinions are really honest, and she's honest in a really nice way. She doesn't try to put anybody down or create drama against brands. So I've always appreciated her straightforward, nice videos, well put together, and I can't believe she's gone, and there's going to be a huge hole in the beauty community because I just think it's a shame. I don't know what happened, but I just think it's a shame. So I wanted to give you this little message so you guys think about, you know, the people in your life that inspire you. Give them a hug, give them a call, let them know that they're important to you, because you never know what's going to happen. This world is just a crazy place. As always, thank you guys always for watching my channel. You guys are the reason why I do it, besides my love of beauty. That's all my comments for now. Alright, back to the makeup. First impression, since this is my first holiday palette, I actually haven't seen one in person before. You know, I knew it was going to be large, but this feels like actually smaller than I thought it was going to be. It's just long, really. And I really wasn't going to pick this up, but I ended up picking it up because honestly the price, and there were a couple shades in here I was interested in, but overall I don't really need it. Of course I don't really need any more eyeshadow, but I was also concerned about the size and storing it in my drawers, because it's longer. I think it could be a little bit more compact in the way she arranged the shades, but it does still have a really luxe feel because of the hard plastic kind of backing that's shiny. What I do like about this palette is it's got this ribbon to keep the mirror from going all the way back, and it's got a nice huge mirror. Oh my goodness. And you know, it's a light cardboard packaging. What I really love, it has all the shade names on the back, so great for me to reference. And then it comes in the sleeve that looks just like the regular packaging, and it kind of unfolds like this. So that is what you can expect from this palette. You might be wondering, okay, did I pick up anything else in this holiday collection, or do I plan to? No. So the blushes, the blush palette, I really like the idea of that. I kind of wish that came out before because I probably would have done something like that. I already have one of the highlighters that's coming out. I believe there's one new one. And I have all the blush shades that I need. I don't think there's any new blush shades coming out. And then there's two quads. One looks fairly boring. The other one has an interesting kind of bluish shade in it, but I don't think I'm going to be picking it up. And then I believe there's some lip balms that I will not be purchasing. So this is it for the holidays. I think it's interesting that things are releasing so early, but I'm guessing that's just the trend, and it will always get earlier and earlier every year. But I wonder, you know, this is a holiday palette. If people buy this and hold it until December and give it as a gift for Christmas. Like, do people do that? Like, if you know someone's really into makeup, would you make them wait that long? I just find it kind of interesting. And I'll just let you know that the textures in here do feel different. Just from swatching, I can tell the mattes don't quite all feel the same. And I noticed overall the main thing I saw was there was a good amount of crumbling with the shadows when I was going like this, and I think you can see some of the crumbly bits on some of these a little easier than others. There's a lot of pink. There's about 5 variations of pink in here, which I know a lot of people are tired of from Pat, but I think because of this is a lower price point for all these eyeshadows, of course you don't get as many you don't get as much product for each shade, but at a lower price point, I think of this as like an introductory palette for people that don't normally wear Pat McGrath. And it's presented really pretty. I mean, it's got the red. It kind of makes sense that it's holiday. And it's one of those like, oh, I don't know what colors you wear, but you'll probably like something in here. I think that's totally true, and overall I think this is a really fun palette with a good amount of variety, but just from the swatches I can already pick out some things that I want to try out on my eyes, because some of these shadows like really excited me. So anyways, let's show those swatches. So I'm going to use this like medium brown shade, Sunrose Amber, in my crease. It's a little bit warm, so I'll probably go in the deeper brown matte shade. There we go. And even though I'm using doing two different looks, I'm going to use the same crease shade. So I don't have a primer on my eyes, in case you guys are wondering. I don't even have concealer on my lids, just underneath. the eyes. And I apologize, this isn't quite the best lighting. I usually try to film in the daytime, but I've been slammed, so I just took a break and now I'm filming. So as I go through the application steps, I want to talk about how these apply. Do they blend the same way? What's it like? So hopefully I can inform you if this formula is worth it, if it's any different than the rest of Pat's eyeshadows. I know I could tell a difference with the 6-pan palettes, especially like some of the mattes. They just didn't spread quite the same, but the matte I just put on seemed pretty fine. Maybe a little bit of extra trouble to blend out, but otherwise I think it's pigmented and looks pretty decent. Let's do Bronze Nova. I'm going to use my finger with this one. This is one of those really flaky ones, but very foily. So we're just going to go in here on the edge. I mean, look at that. Dramatic. This is like almost multi-chrome, but it's just duo. But, I mean, the finish on this shadow, pretty insane. Yeah, that's really pretty. Okay, now I'm gonna go into citrine. I don't know how it's gonna go, and we're just gonna be really foily. Look at that. Super foily green shade. So I have a deeper green eyeshadow that's very foily like this, but it's from an indie brand. So I'm very excited to see Pat do a shade like this. So I'm a sucker for greens. I know this is not going to be everyone's cup of tea. I'm sure most of you are like, whoa, that's way too much. I dig it. I'm going to overlap a little bit with that bronze shade. Bronze and green, what do you guys think? That is such a magical combo. Like gold and green, I feel like I have a pot of gold on my eyelid. Very fun. I think this palette is really fun. I think I'm going to use my finger again, at least at first. So now I'm going to dip into that light lavender shade, Lunar Haze. This isn't quite as flaky, it's more of a metallic. So not quite the same dramatic foil finish. Oh my goodness. This is so pretty. I don't know that I have a lot of shades like this in my collection, so I'm glad I picked this up for sure, because the finish on this is pretty stunning and really nice to apply with a finger. So I want to show you a little bit of that Palladium shade, because I just think this one is really stunning. Maybe a little bit in here. I thought about putting it out here, but I probably want to go deeper. So let's just do a little bit here. So I don't know, this is quite the most amazing pairing, because I feel like there's a bit of a clash between silver and this like taupey platinum. There is so much shine going on. Look at these two, guys. Ugh, I mean, that's a combination right there. I don't know how fun it would be to take that Moon Noir, what is it called? Noir Moon. If I went on the outside with that one, that would probably look a little bit funky, but I'm willing to try. Ooh, that's scary. I think that might be a little bit intense. Yeah, I don't think I want to quite go that deep. Like, I know someone commented that they're really excited about this shade. Blacks do not excite me. I know this is like something else going on, but it's just so deep. Bronze Eclipse. Looks like that. probably a shade I should have used a brush with. Okay, now we have a little bit more cohesion between the two eyes. Not that I would wear this look together. Now I want to think about under eye. I think what I'm most surprised about in terms of like texture is there's a lot of sparkle in this palette. I think for this eye I want to keep it light, so I'm gonna go with Solar Flare, kind of a peach moment. Not quite as bright, but it's like barely there. A little bit of color. Electrique, which is like a very light, which is like a watermelon shade. It makes you look a little bit bloodshot, but we're gonna do liner and lashes. So, and then for the other side, I want to use this pumpkin shade. It's like a metallic pumpkin. Alright, so I'm going to put on an eyeliner from Chanel, the Stylo U Waterproof in Brune Agape. It's like a metallic-y brown. And then I'm just going to use a mascara from Victoria Beckham Future Lash. I'm not going to do any false lashes because I never do. And we're going to see how the final look turns out. Alright, y'all, we have lots of sparkle going on. I'm really liking what these eyeshadows can do. They perform really well. I did notice some differences in formula, and we'll talk about that in my final thoughts, but I overall really like both looks. I'm a little bit partial to this one just because it's like really like boom and like very fall vibes. But I love the lilac shade. Oh my goodness. I did have to do a little bit of powdering under my eyes, and I still didn't really get all the fallout, and I'll talk about which shades I noticed the most fallout from. So you'll probably notice a lot of sparkle under there. Apologies. But I really love this palette. I mean, I didn't think I would. I thought it was like overdoing it with all the pat shadows I already have, and it definitely is. But I do think the shades in here are pretty dang good, at least the ones I've tried. This is just a really fun, pretty, sparkly, a little bit of interest in here. I mean, you can do totally every day, but then you can step it up a notch if you want to. Alright guys, I'm going to take some photos so you guys can see this a little bit more up close, and then I will talk about my final first impression thoughts. This palette, should you get it? I think it depends who you are. If you are a pat junkie, you probably already have the palette before I did. But if you are new to pat, you're trying to introduce yourself to more luxurious makeup, you're trying to treat yourself. This palette has a good variety of options, colors, textures, shade ranges. There is a lot of pink. So if that bothers you, then probably don't get it. But there's a lot of neutrals. I include gold and like pewter as a neutral, this light shade as a neutral. But there's lots of browns and coppers to work with if that is the kind of color story that you like. If you're looking for a whole lot of cool tone, there's a couple in here that might pass as cool tone, but a lot of what Pat offers is warm to neutral. The mattes in here, can you complete all these looks with these mattes? Probably, but you might have to get a little bit creative with your color story. You might have to reach outside of this palette if you're used to creating looks in a certain way, where you have a good amount of matte tones to choose from. There is, 2 brown shades and 2 sort of pinkish to red, to brick red kind of shades in here that are matte. Now, could she use a little bit more variety of matte in here? Yes. There's a metallic, there's shimmer, there's foil, there is duochrome stuff going on, which is absolutely beautiful. Yeah, as I said, I think if you're a newbie, this is a great introduction because you get 18 shades for less than the cost of a mothership, which is $125 full price. Now, if you want the exact same quality as the motherships, I don't think this palette quite lives up to that. It's a good formula. Is it better than other eyeshadow formulas out there? I don't know. That's really up for debate. I don't buy tons and tons of eyeshadow palettes. Is it better than Natasha Denona? I think some of these shades probably are and some aren't. Like, I think some of these mattes felt smoother than others. Some of these mattes kind of got crumbly on me more than others, and that they really were powdery and kind of lifted up a little bit when I put my finger in there. And then some just felt like they were just pressed differently, like they had little lines going through them, which I don't normally see in a matte eyeshadow. So I was a little bit surprised at the variety going on in here that I'm not really used to, because usually Pat's mattes are all kind of feel pretty similar, but some of these weren't quite as smooth. But I still got a really good look out of it. I was able to blend them out pretty well. Now, I wasn't able to try every shade on my two eyes, so I can't speak to the quality and the formula for every single eyeshadow, but from what I swatched and what I tried, the pigment, the color payoff is there. So I think you may have to kind of work with these formulas a little bit if you're used to Pat's other formulas, but I think the payoff is still really there. Now, that being said, most palettes in the market are not close to $80, so this is still a fairly expensive palette, even in the eyeshadow universe. So you just have to think about, do I like the colors in this color story? Am I going to get use out of them? Do they make me happy? All of the above. I think overall, if you want to put your nose in Pat, this is a great option. I think it's a no-brainer, especially because of the cost. But there are quads. The quads are less money. If you like a less intimidating color story where you only have 4 to choose from, quads make a lot more sense to introduce yourself to the brand. So, and there is a quad coming out that is very neutral that I think a lot of people will like. To me, it's not super exciting, but you know, it will work for every day. So, but I think this palette, if you want to have a little bit of fun, makes a lot of sense. Let's talk about the fallout that I experienced. So this, like, palladium, this one had a lot of fallout on this eye. Maybe a little bit of the lilac, but definitely palladium. And then on this eye, I saw a lot of green fallout. I'm not too surprised because both of those picked up very flaky and thick. So that's gonna happen, unfortunately. And you know, for whatever reason, this time I could not brush it away. I actually had to put powder on top. So you may want to do your eyes first with this palette. I definitely would suggest that. I never do it. I just clean up afterwards. But if you don't want to do that, do your eyes first. Also, if you don't like a lot of glitter and sparkle, I don't really know that this is going to be the palette for you, because I think those are like the most exciting parts of it, really. I mean, the foils, these are standout formulas. So if you're a little bit skittish, you don't really like wearing makeup, I don't think this quite makes sense for you. But I like the packaging. I like that it's lighter weight. I like that it's different, that it's red. I feel like I'm dusty. Everything arrived in great shape. No issues. I mean, if you have a beauty junkie in your life that likes makeup and you know they don't have Pat McGrath yet, I think they'll have fun with this one. They may not use it every day. They may not love every single shadow, but I think they're going to overall be pretty happy with it. Anyways, those are my final thoughts. Let me know what you guys are excited about in this palette. What shades are you looking forward to? Please comment below. If you like this video, click the thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye, guys.